has rarely been easy in the northeast, and the favoured way to escape from a harsh reality is through football. They don't have a monopoly on passion, but they certainly have plenty of it. The players today certainly have to earn their stripes. Kevin Nolan made his Newcastle debut in the last derby some 20 months ago. And Lee Cattermole played his very first senior game in his career for Middlesbrough here in a Tyne Tees derby as a 17-year-old. So they're back facing each other again after Newcastle's season in the Championship. Quite an occasion. Northeast hostilities resuming on Halloween. Both sides coming into the derby on the back of Premier League wins, so same side for Newcastle as you've heard at West Ham. Tim Krul was needed in midweek in the Carling Cup. He's Newcastle's only fit goalkeeper with senior experience. Mike Williamson was the only other starter against Arsenal in today's lineup. Right back Danny Simpson did have a spell with Sunderland 3 years ago. In midfield, Joey Barton had a foot in both goals at Upton Park. The first scored by Kevin Nolan, and the other from the man who is currently being minded and mentored by Nolan, Andy Carroll, who's up front with Shola Amiobi. Steve Bruce also has a young keeper in Simon Mignolet. Like Krul, it's his first derby, and also a defender who has crossed this particular divide in Titus Bramble. Phil Bardsley keeps his place, even though Kieran Richardson is fit again. Steve Bruce has been enjoying stringing 5 across midfield. Jordan Henderson in particular and Lee Cattermole certainly understand the local rivalry. But for goals, they are very dependent on Darren Bent, who has scored here before, but way back in his Ipswich days. That's the kind of confidence the grown-ups are going to need during the match, I think. As the Geordies take on the Mackhams for the 131st time in league football. Newcastle 1 win away from 50 against the neighbours, who have savoured 41 such successes. It's black and white, kicking off against red and white. Alan Smith's been waiting patiently to get a word in. Alan.
Yeah, I think anybody out there who hasn't played in this derby will just realise what it means to the fans. It has been deafening approaching kick-off, and it'll be even louder if Newcastle score early on here. Maybe after a quick start, after having a few troubles at home to get a result.
Here's Andy Carroll, who did get a 20-minute outing as a substitute against Arsenal in the Carling Cup on Wednesday, and certainly impressed Arsene Wenger. Just to emphasise the importance of this fixture, there have been absolutely no complaints from the Newcastle fans about that 4-0 home defeat. Of course, the first-choice players who've been left fresh and fit for this game, if they win, everything else will be forgotten. It means so much. We've got the ingredient of 2 very inexperienced goalkeepers. Tim Krul and Simon Mignolet. Phil Dowd is the referee. He's experienced, and he's going to need to be.
A good bit of play from Toyota there. Nice and aggressive onto the ball quickly to draw the foul. Had a good time in his early career at Newcastle, but he will be demanding a quick start.
He's conducted himself yet again with dignity and composure, despite the latest rumours that he's on the verge of departure. Plenty of support from Steve Bruce on that front as well, and indeed from Newcastle United to quell the rumours. Well, Joey Barton having a good look at the possibilities here to clip it up to his left, or maybe to go for goal, which is what he chooses to do, to try and give Mignolet some early action.
Well, it was quite a straight one, so difficult to curl it into those players. I thought, why not have a little go? Bardsley in the way.
Well, in playing both Amiobi and Carroll, certainly got an aerial threat, joined by Colaccini, who scored here recently his first Premier League goal to earn a point against Wigan. Outswinger from Barton, Carroll going in. Oh, arms and aggression. And Newcastle looking to break out with Danny Welbeck. Darren Bent waiting for it, and the pass never came, and Bent wants to know why.
Well, it's a difficult one in there, and you know there was a challenge coming. Prevented, I think, Welbeck from squaring the ball. He only had one thing in his mind, actually, Danny Welbeck. The whites of those posts is what he saw. Counter from Sunderland.
Highly thought of Jordan Henderson with the corner. And Titus Bramble, well known in these parts. 5 seasons a Newcastle player.
With a bit of pace, didn't they, from Newcastle's corner. A little snapshot of what Andy Carroll's going to present as a threat from that corner. It's a good tackle from Malbrook that starts it off, and Welbeck just have a look at his face. Does he have a look to his left? He doesn't know Darren Bent's there. He wants a shot, he's determined to have one.
Welbeck on loan from Manchester United. Barton. Part of the way of accommodating the 2 strikers for Chris Hughton is to use Barton on the right-hand side. And playing as an orthodox central midfield player with Tiote, who was the player caught in possession by Malbrook as Sunderland broke. Sunderland, remember, 7 games unbeaten in the Premier League. A couple of wins with a swathe of 5 successive draws in the centre of all that.
They don't concede many goals, do they? 3 clean sheets on the trot.
They don't score many either.
No, they don't. And if they do score, it's normally Darren Bent.
Or an own goal. Here's Tiote. Simpson played briefly for Sunderland. They won the Football League Championship, so he's done the double with both of these clubs in that respect. Boy with the bandana, Jonas Gutierrez. Jose Enrique. We noticed this weekend, I noticed the tackle by Bardsley, but this weekend what the Premier League call the high visibility ball, the winter ball, is in use for the first time.
Got a good thump from Bardsley, but I think they're conscious, Newcastle, that when the ball goes out to the flanks, be it Joey Barton or Gutierrez, they want to close it down quickly, Sunderland, because they want to cut that supply line, balls into the box for Andy Carroll in particular.
Here's Malbrook. Picked off by Nolan. And Phil Dowd has been yelled at there by Steve Bruce because as Malbrook played the ball, he was caught. Wasn't the best ball, in truth, a square one that invited the interception that it got, but...
Well, he had a little nibble with Malbrook on that previous counter-attack, and he's caught the shins of the midfielder on that occasion. Maybe a combination of the 2 challenges into a booking.
Sheikh Tiote. Just new to the derby, but pretty new to English football in general. And Sunderland have the free kick, which Bardsley takes. And again, giving his old club a bit of cause for concern.
Twice he's got his head to the ball. Searching for that more consistency to his game now. You don't tend to see those glaring errors that you did a couple of years back from Titus Bramble.
His opportunity to Craig Gordon, picking up a pre-season injury. Gordon's fit again, but can't get in the team. There's Egyptian Mohammadi flicking it on. And the competitive captains in close proximity. Nolan found in Catamol.
Interesting watching Lee Catamol today. I remember when he came back from his suspension at Anfield, Steve Bruce told him not to make a tackle, just to stand up. And this is the kind of match it's difficult not to make a tackle.
Carroll defends well. Henderson's free kick. Oh, it's a good hit on the half volley. by Jordan Henderson, who's being monitored by scouts from the so-called bigger clubs.
Yeah, measures of his confidence here and technique. Lovely clean strike from the youngster. Causing a lot of interest, isn't he? Attracting a lot, and won't be long before Steve Bruce is going to have to work really hard to keep him at Sunderland.
He's in the England under-21 setup, and talk of maybe a call-up for the senior squad. Franco Baldini is on duty. Barton, his crosses were so dangerous to West Ham last weekend. Simpson taken over from James Perch at right back recently and got his fitness back on track. Kyoto. This is Jose Enrique. He loves to do, we've got the head of the play, but he's got to try and track back. It's an area maybe that Sunderland can exploit with their extra player in there in any case.
Well, they are going to be hard to break down because of that extra man. Maybe trying to exploit Newcastle on the counter-attack with the pace of Darren Bent, with the good runs that he makes.
Now Quinn will be hoping that someone can follow in his footsteps. The 2 Sunderland League wins here in the last 30 years, both included goals from the now chairman of the club. Another of the loanees from Manchester City. Won by Mohamedi. Bent just seen off by Williamson.
That's twice now Mohamedi's come inside and got a run at the ball and got a flick.
So we're pretty level with where the ball was flicked on and where Amiobi was when that point of contact came from Carroll's head. Offside given.
Interesting, he's chosen to stick with that Amiobi-Carroll partnership. Before that, he'd only had Carroll up front with no one supporting, but he's gone for that regular 4-4-2 now, last couple of matches. He's shooting.
He's also chosen to wear the suit again today, which he did at West Ham, but he forsook for the Carling Cup tie against Arsenal.
Who says that creatures of superstition?
Nolan, nice run, filled out, says play on. And Andy Carroll's quite happy to do that. He's got a lot to do, but he's quite capable of doing it. Barnsley comes across and makes the challenge on the ball. But what a break by Carroll and a very fine tackle by the Sunderland left-back.
Yeah, wasn't it just nice bit of footwork? And the big fella really was. Lifted the crowd and it should lift him.
Catamol has been trying to toe the line, having had 2 red cards already this season.
Well, I'm sure Steve Bruce would have had a little chat with him about his challenges in this match. And it was that challenge, was it, for Colaccini that angered him? But this is the nice bit of footwork to duck inside. Got to get that tackle right, hadn't he, Phil Bardsley? And he did exactly that. A period when there's so much controversy about tackles, well, it's a perfect example of how to execute one.
Just suiting having a right-footed left-back in those circumstances to be able to tackle with his stronger foot.
Yeah, he's quick across the turf as well to make up some ground.
Phil Dowd is one of those referees who's always happy to talk to players and get a few words back. And they're not all like that, I have to say. Was upset about the challenge on El Mohamedi. Dave Galley's the physio on the far side, the Sunderland midfield man. So there was a lot of fuss about not very much in the end. Believe it or not, in 16 Premier League meetings between these two, there hasn't yet been a red card. Barton. Henderson. Catamol. Very much from the northeast, Lee Catamol, but from the Tees side rather than the banks of the Tyne or the Wear. But no chance for Sunderland to push up the table if they're able to come here and win. Newcastle would go above them if Newcastle get the 3 points. That would be a happy Halloween for the black and whites. Tiote. Bronk after the challenge by Catamol. Tapped by Welbeck. Down he goes. Carroll caught him. Cards coming out for Newcastle's latest number 9.
Well, he looks pumped up, doesn't he, Andy Carroll? He's shown us some of his good qualities already in this match. This wasn't so clever, going to ground, chasing back. Striker's tackle, you could say, if you're being charitable. Clumsy one.
Bill Gadd dropped his yellow card, having shown it to Andy Carroll. Sunderland tried to take it quickly down the side, but Newcastle are alert to that. It wasn't ready, but it goes in the same direction between Henderson and Welbeck. Whipped in by Henderson. Danny Welbeck again. That's Malbronk. Couldn't wrap his foot round it. He's got the technique to do so. A difficult dropping ball.
Yeah, it was extremely difficult, but it's falling nicely for him. Why not have a crack?
Trying to make amends in the last derby when he gave away a penalty that gave Newcastle the equaliser. It's a pretty soft decision by Stephen Taylor, who's back amongst the Newcastle subs today. Bramble. Drop it over Williamson. He's knocked down by Bent, as he was on Wednesday by Nicholas Bentner when Theo Walcott scored, and the officials didn't spot that one. They could hardly miss this one, though.
No, but it's good starting position from Darren Bent on the shoulder. He has to take up those positions. Very clever in that respect.
There's Amiobi. Very popular in these parts. Originally from Nigeria, Shola Amiobi, but came to Newcastle very much as a young boy. Malbronk. Nicely done. He's played in Manchester derbies, so shouldn't phase him too much.
He's just finding an outlet ball sometimes with Darren Bent up there on his own. It'll be difficult to get the ball into his feet. I know they've been working on trying to get Danny Welbeck involved on that left-hand side, present more of a goal threat.
Mistake by Jose Enrique. Got back at El Mohammadi. Newcastle, one or two problems of their own making. Good pressing by Steve Bruce's side. All stayed in play. Now some room for Buck. Looking early for Amiobi. Turner trying to get back. Amiobi's made up the ground. Goal kick.
Lovely switch of play from Joey Barton. He's enjoying himself on that right-hand side. It's not his natural area. He's adjusted his game and he's presenting a real threat with his vision, his passing ability. Newcastle,
you'll remember well, thrashed Aston Villa here in August, but they've lost 3 home games since then, counting the Carling Cup match on Wednesday. Only that late equaliser from Colaccini against Wigan stopped it being 4 out of 4. So they're struggling at home. Sunderland aren't very successful by any means away. Simpson for Carroll. Take it down. He goes down. No doubts having nothing to do with the appeals, which came mostly from the crowd. is El Mohammadi. He's giving Jose Enrique some early problems here.
There's a bundle of energy, the Egyptian. One of those that never stops running. Seems to settle in quickly at Sterling the line.
Miller with the throw. Henderson. To the middle, right back, bent. Carroll. It's nicely measured for Gutierrez. Very good tackle from Michael Turner. Welbeck. Henderson to Mohammadi. Had to run towards the near post. Williamson could have let it run, maybe. Needed a call. Put away by Simpson. Carroll made it his, really against the odds. Possibly Amiobi likewise. And Barnsley's there again, brimming with tenacity in the tackle. The determination you really need for a derby.
Good little duel that, isn't it? Barnsley versus Barton. Carroll is causing Sunderland all sorts of problems. That's a foul.
Darren Bent not happy with the timing of the ball to him.
And he took a good position and he was found well. It's not the easiest to control, but he does a good job with his chest. Kills it quite quickly. It's the little wave of the leg from Titus Bramble. Shout, but I don't think he really believed he was going to get a penalty there.
Off the field, he's certainly making the right impressions now. He's got his court cases behind him. So he's been moved in with Kevin Nolan. That seems to be working well. Welbeck. Barton, another reformed character. Tiote. Here's Gutierrez. Steered away by Bramble. Raised an apology by Gutierrez. It wasn't a great ball.
No, he had a lot of time and space to deliver.
What can Barton do? It's deflected. Oh, Henderson's missed his kick. Nolan virtually did the same, and he got a glimmer of contact, really.
All sorts of space, wasn't he? Kevin Nolan in the box there, drifting off his man.
Henderson set off as soon as he knew Kakamo was going to get on the ball. Much support for him. That's going to be the way, really. The tactical plan of Steve Bruce.
I mean, Henderson's the more likely, isn't he? Certainly more likely than Kakamo to make those runs beyond the striker.
Whether it's just evolved in the game or whether Malbronk's been told to go out there and do that and stop Tiote getting into his passing rhythm. He's a very good user of the ball. Malbronk's been all over him.
There's a couple of mistakes first from Jordan Henderson when the ball's deflected into the box. Youngster misses his kick, and Nolan does the same in a decent position.
Amiobi. Prefers to play more centrally. Gutierrez, angular style of his. Manuha didn't get deceived by the dropping of the shoulder, kept his eye on the ball, made the tackle. Gutierrez, it's gone out of him. Steve Bruce was urging his players to stay cool, play the game as it unfolds, not to play the occasion. Some promising moments, halfway through the first half. Newcastle Perhaps using the width the better. Gutierrez, and they've got a corner. Off a Neuer.
Well, they did it well, didn't they? Shifted the ball out wide. I don't know what the possession stats are, but it seems that Newcastle have had a little more of the ball, as you would expect. Quite a lot more of the ball. And they've done okay so far defensively. Sunderland got stretched one or two times by Andy Carroll. And these are the dangerous moments for them.
Williamson trying to screen it off, so Carroll comes in unattended, which he does. Now Colaccini seemed certain to pounce. It was clever placing of the two. Look at Carroll behind Williamson, so he gets free.
Well, how close was Colaccini to getting his head on that ball? It's the flick from Mignolet that really saved the day there.
He hit shoulder Amiobi, went back across the face of the goal, and moment for the Newcastle fans, a scary moment for Sunderland.
It was a little too easy for Andy Carroll to peel away on that far post and get the head back.
Turner, Oprit. Amiobi. Tiote. Now Simpson. Barton going for the big man.
Well, even though the cross is coming from deep, it's a threat every time, isn't it, for Turner and Bramble?
I think, Alan, that's what Chris Hughton took from the win at West Ham. They can do. They've got a way of getting forward. They can put the ball in from all sorts of angles when they've got Amiobi and Carroll.
And they're good balls as well, aren't they? They're accurate. That's the key.
Throwing Colaccini and Williamson. That's what Joey Barton will be aiming for. Away from the head of Mike Williamson. There's Enrique. Tiote. Barton. It's worth a crack. Good save. The young Belgian got down very well indeed.
Yeah, wasn't it just? I mean, it came through one or two bodies. He struck it well enough, Joey Barton. Oh, just been missighted momentarily there, the keeper, but didn't he do a good job?
Good delivery by Barton again, and it's hooked in. Kevin Nolan with his back to goal. That didn't deter him. And tremendous joy on Tyneside.
Well, if Nolan did get a touch to this, it's a wonderful finish. I thought initially it might have been an own goal, but he's certainly claiming it. Not a clear header this time, but just enough of a challenge to keep the ball in the air. It certainly was Kevin Nolan's. Lovely piece of improvisation from him. Back to goal. That's the only choice he'd got, and didn't he perform it well? The Newcastle captain comes at the end of a real period of pressure from Newcastle. But the men on the line can do nothing about it. Great goal from the skipper.
He's having a bit of a personal battle with his lodger, Andy Carroll, as to being the leading scorer with Newcastle United. They're level now on 5 apiece. But as far as the Tyne-Wear derby is concerned, there is a difference now between the two. It's Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0.
Kind of set pieces were always going to be a danger for Sunderland. We saw the warning with a corner beforehand, and Andy Carroll got the knockback.
Well, it's only the 8th goal that Sunderland have conceded in this, their 10th game in the Barclays Premier League this season. They've been a model of defensive discipline. Certainly the tactic that we've talked about, restricting their scoring power, has certainly worked defensively, but they've been unhinged here. But it's Catamol. Couldn't quite reach it to get the big contact on it to get it directed at goal, using the pace on the cross.
No, Darren Benton made a good run. He wanted it in the box. Would have been difficult to find him, but Catamol on the stretch. And they're going to have to take one or two more chances now. Break out from that disciplined shape that they tend to adopt. This is the goal. Andy Carroll's involved, but it wasn't his knockback in the end. Got 3 players on the line, a keeper as well. But still, they couldn't stop Kevin Nolan.
Carroll is backing in. Bardsley. Subdued the 2,000 or so from Sunderland. The majority in St James's Park. Breathed in smiles. And here's the man who's got the smiles on those faces. Nolan goes for goal again. It's always been a feature of his play. We've got Sam Allardyce to tell you at half-time. Now he probably turned Kevin Nolan into the type of performer that he's been for a good number of years. A midfield man who wants to score a goal.
He went through a fallow period, but in the Championship last season, what was it, 17 goals he got? And now continuing it in the top flight.
But it's up for offside.
It's a problem for Sunderland, isn't it? As we mentioned earlier, they haven't been scoring too many goals, and Darren Bent has certainly carried the onus.
The only side Sunderland have lost to in the Premier League this season, West Bromwich Albion, who are also promoted, of course. Turner. Tiote. Jose Enrique. Gutierrez. Colaccini. This time it's a long ball with Ramiobi or Carroll venturing towards it. Steve Bruce has been saying it's not fashionable anymore to play with 2 up top, but at the moment the Newcastle 2 are giving his team the problems that really have turned the game the way of Chris Hughton's team. So another ball coming in the box as well. Yellow card coming out for Malbronk.
Yeah, if Andy Carroll's a thorn in the side, so is Joey Barton on this right-hand flank. Playing really well first half an hour. Purpose and end product. Another chance for Joey Barton to swing one in now. How do you stop Andy Carroll when he gets a run at it? It's really difficult. Stand next to him, he's absolutely huge.
Such a physical force, isn't he?
He's a 6'5".
Drives it rather than hangs it up. Nice turn by Tiote. Lost Henderson. Here's Carroll. Catamol. Bardsley at least to get some distance into the clearance. Pacey play at the back for Newcastle by Simpson.
So we're going to step it up, Sunderland. Have to hit the target. It's a little frustrating from that moment. Struggling to reply to that Newcastle goal.
Bruce grew up in these parts when there was Northumberland and Durham, really the distinction. It wasn't the most popular move by the local government to turn together the areas and call them Tyne and Wear. And as far as football is concerned, they couldn't be more opposite. Here's Gutierrez. Nice overlap by Jose Enrique. Pushed away by Catamol, but Newcastle will come again. Gutierrez, Nolan, Gutierrez. There's no flag. It's 2-0. It's Kevin Nolan again. What a day for the Newcastle skipper.
Well, for a team that doesn't score, or concede rather, too many goals, that was a really sloppy piece of defending. He popped up in the box early, didn't he, Kevin Nolan, in all sorts of space. How much space does he have here after laying it off? He doesn't have to do anything. I think he's level, he's onside. His first touch is a little clumsy behind him, but he makes up for it with a cool finish. But they're at 6s and 7s here, Sunderland all over the place to allow Kevin Nolan what amounts to a tap-in the end. And what is also a really important goal, I fancy. In terms of the result of this match, he knows it, that's a big one.
Well, all credit to Chris Hughton, who could have gone like for like with his team and played like that Newcastle played earlier in the season, with Nolan really coming from an advanced midfield position with a string of 4 across behind him. And just one striker. But Chris Hughton and Newcastle have gone for this derby. And the reward with not yet 35 minutes gone is a 2-0 lead over the neighbours.
One fortune favours the bride, but it was a good win at West Ham. Obi and Carroll both played the part. When you're at home, it's a derby, why not?
It's not such a bad thing owning Newcastle United at the moment. From a man who's been pretty reluctant to hang on to it, would have sold it, will still sell it probably, but we've got to enjoy the good times. Sunderland have got to find some good times of their own in what remains here. We'll need Darren Bent. Bartley. Here's Henderson.
Well, that second goal doesn't give them a kick up the backside, nothing will, because they just haven't got going on the offensive, really. Sunderland haven't found the way. Danny Welbeck's moved into a more central position now to join Darren Bent from that left-hand side. Onto a 4-4-2.
Bronk will play on the more of the left now. Can't win it against Colaccini, but Obi does. Happy return for Bramble. But Turner concerned, he should be, because Carroll is really easily, Steve Bruce will feel.
Just leading from the front and driving the team on. Not only Carroll but Cholo and Obi, they're winning their individual battles, more often not winning the flicks, and those kind of challenges, as you say, Martin, too easy for Carroll. Just a hopeful punt upfield, and they get themselves onto it.
Now Brock. His tackle, and goes Simpson. Catamol. Anua. Gets it away. Bruce is thinking of making the first half change because he got Massimo Gian. Cost some £13 million. Because of the shape of the strategy for Sunderland, hasn't been able to hold down a starting place.
Well, he's got an option, hasn't he? He's not messing about, Steve Bruce.
Brains trust with Eric Black. When Steve Bruce was growing up in Newcastle, he'd have been thrilled to hear that Newcastle United were leading Sunderland by 2-0, but the current position he occupies, it's a bit of a nightmare. This is Phil Budd. Malbronk. Full claims.
Sunderland fans tucked away at the top of the stand will just want to see some kind of response from the team. Steve Bruce is going to make a positive one. Try and trouble that Newcastle back four a little more than they have been so far.
Bent. Welbeck. Two up top, nearly made it happen then. Was up. Welbeck, of course, has played through the centre, but I guess he's not the player taken off. And he's not. It's Mohammadi is coming to be removed for a tactical switch. No real reflection on him. And that's what Newcastle have done. As well as get the 2 goals, they forced Steve Bruce into a rethink.
It's quite early, isn't it? But needs must, such is the situation.
So what we've got now is Welbeck, orthodox left-sided midfield player. Henderson's gone to the right. Yeah, Malbronk and Catamol in the middle. There are 4. Like for like now, with
They've got to play like for like, haven't they? And onus now on Gian and Bent to do what Carroll and Abiobi have been doing at the other end to the centre halves, dominating them.
Turner with the free kick. Goal back before half-time for the Mackhams would give them some sort of foothold in the fixture, which at the moment is going totally the wrong way for them. Catamol. Miller. Good thrust by Amiobi, and as he picked himself up, he thought the ball had gone in the opposite direction, but only to a teammate. Simpson trying to find the dangerous head of Carroll.
That's one of the few times they've wasted those opportunities to get on into the box. Normally been quite accurate. Been a really good first half's work though from Newcastle, isn't it? Just see it through to half-time. No silly mistakes.
Well, it was on a time-wear derby hat-trick. That's accomplished for Newcastle by someone who's definitely here today, Peter Beardsley. Giving us a graphic illustration as to what he saw that he didn't like about the challenge.
It was coming through shin height, he wasn't so keen on.
It's one of those little gestures from the referee that they'll set to music on Soccer AM, I think.
He's almost old school now, Phil, down in the way that he has that conversation with players, and I think that's what players want. He gives and takes. He'll tell them to shut up if he feels they're overstepping the mark.
They were teasing him before the game. He gave a penalty to Chelsea in the Carling Cup game at Stamford Bridge not that long ago. Newcastle then scored a winning goal right at the end from Amiobi. So it had a happy ending. This is Welbeck. Simpson pointing that he deflected the ball.
I thought he did get the ball, Danny Simpson. Didn't commit himself to the challenge, but he seemed to get a toe on it.
I thought his assistant could have helped him here.
It's
Must
clear
have seen
enough.
it. But sometimes, even when the ball's won, they'll tell you that it's reckless. And
Well, they will, but on that occasion, didn't think it was. You can't discourage players from going for the ball in those situations. You really can't. It's there to be won, and he won it.
I think not too bad. 1 yellow card. It's only his second game of the season. Here's Barnsley. Important this for Sunderland. Defence, Bramble.
He played his part in this second goal from Kevin Nolan. Keep your eye on him in the middle of the park. A little bit of contact on the defender, Turner. Just allowing the ball to go through. Clever bit of play from Amiobi. Knew where Nolan was. Knew he couldn't get to it.
Good work by Tiote. Newcastle looking to make it a 3-goal first half. Barton.
I don't think Steve Bruce will be furious about Tiote skipping past a couple of challenges far too easily. That kind of half for his team.
Minutes. Amiobi. By Bardsley.
Newcastle throw.
Reluctant to cede to the referee's decision there, Phil Bardsley. I think it's been a great first half for Chrissy Houghton. So we start again with Simpson's throw. Nolan. Carroll getting into the box. Nolan there first. Carroll going in. Just about to scrape it away from two players who've really been thorns in their side in the latest version of the Tyne-Wear derby. And here's Gutierrez. Timote across. Nice continuity player from Newcastle, gets it, gives it. Enrique took over from him. Gutierrez, Tiote again. A little bit of keep ball. We're only halfway through. That's right. Chris Houghton will make to his team, and at least Steve Bruce will be able to say, well, maybe you turn your own clocks back. Let's try and get back and play the 45 minutes as if it's 90 and get ourselves back into contact.
You'd expect more from Sunderland after the break, that's for certain. Once Steve Bruce has got into them.
There's Gutierrez. Penalty! Well, there might be no way back.
We're a long way from it in this commentary position, but there's one at the heart of it, and there's certainly a tangle of legs involving Noah. And it's a penalty, pure and simple.
Shola Amiobi scored a penalty in the last derby, February 2009. There's no sentiment here for Kevin Nolan to go for the hat-trick from the spot. I don't think Chris Hughton would want that. He wants his first choice penalty taker to address the situation here. This for 3-0 Newcastle. There it is! Raised in Newcastle. He's raised the roof in Newcastle. Shola Amiobi. Incredible. Almost the last kick of an extraordinary first half for the black and whites.
Yeah, well, the nail in the coffin, you would imagine, for Steve Bruce's side. What a killer blow that is. Just as everybody's waiting for that half-time whistle, you don't see too many better penalties than that. Hit with power and great accuracy. A little different to the previous three, but you're not going to get any much more in the corner. Great confidence to reflect a really good first half from Shola Amiobi and from Newcastle. See the angle and the view that he might have of it. He's got a decent view of it, hasn't he, Phil Dowd? And he had no doubt whatsoever. It was a good call.
12 miles apart, but 3 goals apart. There's a huge, huge divide. Amiobi with the penalty, Nolan with 2. Andy Carroll has been here, there and everywhere, and Sunderland just haven't had an answer. At half-time, at a rocking St James's Park, Newcastle United 3, Sunderland 0. On the subject of where Newcastle go from here, Alan, we shouldn't forget they scored 6 against Aston Villa.
Yeah, well, does lightning strike twice? What a day it would be, but already it's been a fantastic performance and effort. I think the word pride would have been mentioned in the away dressing room. Go out there and represent your football club with pride. Try and win the second half, as I'd said in the studio, and make a game of it.
Well, losing out on that occasion to Jordan Henderson. It's a corner. Sunderland with an early opportunity to make a really positive start to the second half after the horrors of the first, but there's Andy Carroll using his aerial ability in a defensive scenario.
If he's disciplined, he can be a real useful tool for them defensively in the way Didier Drogba is for Chelsea.
Henderson again. Well, actually struck Darren Bent, who's not scored in his last 3 games, and never in his time with Sunderland has he gone 4 Premier League games without a goal.
No, well, that was a chance, actually. He just didn't anticipate the ball getting as far as it did, which is unlike Darren Bent. If he had and got his body sorted out, he'd have had a chance.
Let's hear from our man down on the touchline here at St James's Park, Jeff Trees. Jeff.
Martin, Shola Amiobi and Kevin Nolan actually came out for the second half together. I asked Shola whether or not he was on penalties today. He looked at me somewhat disparagingly. He said, of course, always. I asked Kevin Nolan if he fancied it. He just said, no, 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 no. Ever the professional.
Shola Amiobi has now scored 5 goals for Newcastle against Sunderland, 2 of them penalties. So I guess, in all senses, the right man for the occasion.
Yeah, you don't mess about, do you, at 2-0?
I guess if they get another one...
Yeah, a different matter. But I thought the way Amiobi took that penalty, right in the bottom left, justified his standing as the penalty taker. A really sharp take it was.
Well, again, almost a throwback. There was a time where every team had a player like Andy Carroll, big, bold, buccaneering central striker. They always wore number 9.
There's been a lot of talk about the fact that he wanted the number 9 here and all the pressure that comes with it. It's something maybe that people outside the area wouldn't always appreciate, but big things are expected of Newcastle's number 9. Always have been, always will be, but he's delivering at the moment. He's almost unplayable when he's been in the kind of mood that he has this afternoon.
Brought down. Trying to find some attacking pep. Newcastle looking to be strong and sound defensively and at the very least see it through. But Chris Hughton might want to see them sitting too deep. This is Welbeck. Off Carroll, Welbeck again, Carroll clears again, and as far as Catamol, stopped by Tiote.
You see the amount of red and white shirts in that penalty area already. They're committed more men forward. Got to take chances, Sunderland.
So will there be much attacking for Nolan in the second half, or as much as he looks for the hat-trick to try and emulate Peter Beardsley, who's still working for Newcastle. The Derby hat-trick back in the mid-1980s. 1985. Rebel wins this one against Carroll. Wilson can't keep it. There's Enrique. Catamol came storming in.
Maybe hurting. Just a little word with his captains from Steve Bruce. Okay, then if he'd picked up a knock in that first half.
Carroll is guiding it down for Gutierrez. Space for the cross, but didn't get any elevation. Now Brock drops for Nolan. Tiote. Lovely play by Newcastle. They bypass Sunderland's midfield and Nolan to lots of cries of shoot, shoot.
Well, in that kind of mood, and the confidence that he must be feeling. A little bender into the top corner again. A good link up with Joe Barton and a well-weighted pass back into Nolan's path. And Barton can afford to play within themselves, can't they, Newcastle?
Forward by Turner. Welbeck did well. Now Darren Bent, is it going to fall his way? Still might do. And Nolan decides to bring some order to proceedings with commendable calm.
They took the time, didn't they? I wondered who was going to take charge there, because the ball seemed to be stood still in the box for a few seconds. Darren Bent battling for it, threatening to get on the end of it. Who's going to clear it? I will.
Sunderland have scored just 8 times in the Premier League this season. 5 from Bent, 2 own goals and 1 from Asamoah Gyan. Ball's on during the first half in a tactical switch. Gutierrez. That's Carroll. And brought down by Bramble, who knows he's got some punishment to take here. He's off. Well, Phil Dowd had to think about that. It goes from bad to worse for Steve Bruce.
Well, I'm surprised about that. I really am. I mean, it coming on the edge of the 18-yard area, the corner. Was it an obvious goal-scoring opportunity? I didn't really think so. I mean, it was one of those challenges that he's committed to. It's a 50-50 originally, but Carroll just gets the toe to it. Well, I suppose you could argue that he's going to have a shot on goal.
Titus Bramble on his return to the club that he represented for 5 years gets the goodbye waves from the fans that used to cheer him. But what a catastrophe this is for Sunderland.
He's on his left peg, isn't he, Andy Carroll, bearing down on goal. Yes, he's coming in from an angle, but on second glance, it is a goal-scoring opportunity, I suppose. It's a bit of a grey area, that. But Phil Dowd was quite adamant.
A man up and 3 goals up. It's a dream scenario for Newcastle United. More punishment for Sunderland maybe from Barton's free kick. Corner.
There'll be torture out there for those Sunderland players, having had a team talk for the manager to come out and make a game of it. All of a sudden, down to 10 men. Could be a long second half for the visitors.
Barton's next job is to take the corner. And Carroll! Mignolet didn't get anywhere near it, and Carroll found it just too high, even for his capacity to leap.
He's on the stretch, Carroll. It's the challenge from Turner. It just does enough, should have been a corner. Just telling the ref.
Kieran Richardson comes on for Danny Welbeck. Surely now damage limitation, if you can describe it as that for Steve Bruce, but it could get even worse. Richardson to control the left side, just back from hamstring trouble. Here's Jan taking on Simpson, released by Williamson. Held off Tiote's tackle. Bent going in. Can't bear to look, Niall Quinn, club's owner. Short, to take this on the chin. First Premier League red card in a Tyne Weir derby. It's gone to Titus Bramble, who's played for both clubs in a Tyne Weir derby.
Well, surely they couldn't have expected this. They had a hope for it. The wildest of dreams. Expecting it.
Carroll.
It makes sense, I suppose, to put Kieran Richardson on there, on the ball now. He can play left back and get up and down the pitch in a way. Danny Welbeck can't fulfil the defensive duties quite as well.
Free kick given, quickly taken. Catamol. Confidence go well up the field to make the challenges. There's Enrique. Marsley's come to right back, and Neuer, who's played plenty of Premier League football as a central defender. He's alongside Turner. He's now going to come into closer contact with Andy Carroll to see whether he can do any better than the others.
Kevin Nolan and Lee Catamol just having a little chat. It was the challenge from Catamol that Nolan thought was a little bit unnecessary, coming in strongly from the side. Made sure he let the youngster know.
Carroll. Nolan. Tiote. Turner drawn across by Amiobi. Might fancy his pace against Michael Turner, and Turner not wanting to get into a foot race.
Oh, then an ejected punch. It was a clumsy sort of a challenge in the end from Michael Turner. It really was.
Trying to go back to at least get a ticking off. That's all it's going to be. Still more than half an hour to go. Everything set now for Joey Barton. Williamson. Gutierrez. One or two fouls in there. I think he's giving us, he's saying it's the first one.
Well, trying to put themselves about Sunderland. Not much luck at the moment.
Jose Enrique. Nolan. Barton's good block by Malbrook. He's going to need 9 outfield players to fight tooth and nail just to keep it at this, but do it within the laws of the game.
Oh, Kevin Nolan's loving it out there, out about the pitch. Oh, captain's performance from him. Surely fancies the hat-trick.
Carroll. Gutierrez. Well, it has done pretty much already. It's justified Chris Hughton's decision to play the second string in the Carling Cup. On Wednesday night they took a big beating here. Didn't have too much luck in that game. But things have gone for them today, and the first choice have been first class. Here is Nolan. Might have been on its way for the hat-trick. So Turner got in the way. Jose Enrique. Turner gets his head to it. Here's Bardsley. Catamol.
Going the other way for Sunderland is virtually non-existent at the moment. I know it's difficult, but a shadow of the side that we've seen quite often this season, and they have been when they're with their full complement.
And Jose Enrique doesn't need to be doing that. Everything's gone Newcastle's way, and that's what Mike Williamson's saying to him. Use your head. You don't want to go down to 10 men, is the message to the rather petulant Jose Enrique then.
Well, you can understand Lee Catamol having the hum. It's been a humiliating time for him. He's just trying to get close, get his foot on the ball. You'd expect nothing less, but yeah, you're right. Just smile at it.
All the Newcastle fans, that's the mascot here, who's been, well, he's a candidate to steal the show, even from Kevin Nolan.
He found the net a few times in that kick-in. I was watching him. Not short on confidence.
Here's Catamol. Asamoah Gyan's onside. He's got Bent in the middle, and Williamson seemed to let that run. Malbrook. Bardsley wanting it goes to Anuaha. And to Bardsley via Henderson. And Bardsley again trying to put up the wrong kind of fight, really.
Well, it's bad enough, isn't it, the way that looks like they're going to lose this game, but you don't want to lose your heads as well, because that was a challenge that certainly didn't need to be made. The ball's rolling out, going nowhere. I know you still want to show fight for your team. The supporters would expect nothing less, but play with your head as well.
Nolan took that very well indeed. Tiote. Simpson on the move. On the right back. Tiote. Turned his head up. Every second seems like a minute here for Sunderland. Every minute seems like an hour. Gutierrez. Well, he got a Premier League goal recently at Manchester City. He's going to have to strike them better than that to add to that tally.
I mean, they don't want to overexert themselves. I would have thought Newcastle, the game's practically won, but if you're a striker out there in black and white, you're thinking, what are the goals about here? I could nab a couple, possibly.
Bent. Looking for Jan. Cini had to work really hard to do his defending then. It's the two strikers trying to sort something out between them for Sunderland.
Yeah, I mean, there's a challenge on for the defenders as well. Clean sheet. They'll take pride in that. Those Newcastle was at the back.
Henderson's corner. Come off for Colaccini. Barsley hits it.
Good hand to that, didn't he, Tim Krul? Strong left hand. And then on the post. It wouldn't have gone in. Enrique's left foot would have stopped it. Nevertheless, sharp stop.
Well, this is a sort of situation where Sunderland might have a chance of improving their afternoon. They're streaming back now. It's a wonderful switch of play. Gutierrez. Brock's got to be careful. He's been booked. Still Gutierrez. And Brock comes away with it. Goes up. There's Asamoah on the shortlist for European Footballer of the Year after his excellent World Cup.
Yeah, it's been a while since a Sunderland substitute has been on that list. So.
Newcastle's way. Pretty much everything's gone Newcastle's way.
Yeah, I think matches like that, these particularly derby matches, don't come around too often, do they? You've got to enjoy it when you can. Certainly Chris Hughton will be down in that technical area. It's where you can look on without pressure.
Well, he's never been to a Tyne-Wear derby before. He won't want to come again. Simpson. But looking for Amiobi in front of him. Nicely worked by Sunderland. Bent. The Premier League game since he's signed for Sunderland from Spurs. Catamol's been on the edge.
Well, you can see in his body language he's just so annoyed with the situation. It's a little bit more than that. He just feels humiliated out there. But he's gone through this before this season earlier on. When he had a couple of red cards. He doesn't want to continue that trend. Steve Bruce had a word with him when he came back from suspension. mentioned earlier, told him not to make a tackle at Anfield on that return at Liverpool, just to stay on his feet.
Sunderland in hot waters, disciplinary mistakes, as well as in hot waters on the scoreline. Carroll. Richardson, nice touch from Albronk. Catamar. Richardson. His record, a winning goal in a time-away derby for Sunderland with a wonderful free kick at the Stadium of Light a couple of years ago.
A nice tackle that was from Joel Barton. He's hardly put a foot long on that right-hand side today.
Amiobi. Some space to squeeze it through. Carroll likes it. It's an angle for his left foot.
Yet to get on the score sheet, has he, Andy Carroll? So a good opportunity. As much as he's contributed, there's nothing like finding the back of the net.
Williamson's header.
His first mistake.
Wanting to preserve the highest of standards. Was annoyed that cheap loss of possession there. Gutierrez. A couple of Sunderland players and his own teammate. Simpson. Simpson's cross. Carroll hits the bar. Amiobi hits the back of the net. 4 for Newcastle. 2 for Shola Amiobi. It gets better and better.
Doesn't it just? Doesn't it just? He's been talking about the fact that Andy Carroll hasn't got on the score sheet. Well, he should have here, there's no doubt about that. It's a lovely ball in from Simpson. It's just begging to be buried. And so was that. Not an easy take, though. Bouncing quite high. Had to get up above it, the knee over the ball. And he does just that, Shola Amiobi. What a finish. A gaping goal for him in the mood he's in today. And as you said, it gets better and better for Chris Hughton's Newcastle.
Well, he does specialise in these derbies. He's now got 6 goals in his last 4 appearances for Newcastle against Sunderland. It's too much for a good number. It's a short trip home, but it's going to be a painful few weeks, that's for sure. There'll be some not wanting to go to work tomorrow when they know they've got Tynesiders on the shop floor.
Well, it's certainly a departure to how they have been defending. I know they're down to 10 men this second half, but haven't been conceding goals at all, have they? They've been really tight at the back, Sunderland. But the mood Carroll, particularly, and Amiobi were in today. It's been too much for them. Not forgetting Kevin Nolan, of course, coming deep from midfield. He's been superb.
So Newcastle have 2 players on hat-trick now. Kevin Nolan is running in support of Andy Carroll here. And Phil Dowd is reaching again.
He's got Bramble covering, hasn't he, on that occasion?
Richardson was acting as barrister for Michael Turner.
Catamar losing the ball. It was actually Anuha who was the covering player.
Well, Bruce. His team now facing a fine for their disciplinary shortcomings today. It's been fine in the other sense for Newcastle United. This, believe it or not, for 5 for Newcastle. It's Joey Barton. It's Joey Barton, and it's a corner.
Yeah, even the miss kicks get reward. He has had a superb game, though, Joey Barton.
This is their best at St James's Park against Sunderland since 1956, when they got 6. They won by a 4-goal margin, 6-2. They're not finished yet.
Nice goal shoot this time.
He's aimed more towards Williamson.
Trying to block the run of Mignolet. Kevin Nolan standing his way. It's a training ground routine. 2 centre forwards together.
Colaccini goes, checks, and the Obi comes in behind, and it's Nolan's hat-trick. Kevin Nolan has done it. The skipper supreme.
Well, the old set-piece routine does the trick. Amiobi gaining some space with his near post run, and after that, well, Nolan is not going to turn that one up for his hat-trick. What a moment for him to cap a magnificent afternoon. Sunderland in total disarray. Mentioned his position on the keeper, doesn't have to move a great deal to get the little knock in. How'd you like him for your hat-trick?
John Mensah is coming on for Lee Catamol. Well, Alan, we're back on GMT. A Geordie massive total.
Like it. Well.
And here they come again. Carroll. Barton. Just thinking, I remember an Arsenal game when, was it Pennant and Pires both got hat-tricks in the Premier League match? Did it happen for Nolan and Amiobi here? Amiobi, of course, could have angled his header goalwards, but it won't matter to him. He's that type of lad. Talk about revelling in it. Newcastle United. The neighbourly noses are being rubbed in the dirt.
I know it's distorted because it's 10 against 11, but there's been some really good performances out there for Newcastle, even when it was even Stevens. Some top-class ones. Mentioned the strikers, Nolan, Joey Barton. Defenders have been solid.
Alan, you say it's distorted it, but Monday Night Football not long ago, Blackburn had 10 men against Sunderland. Yeah. Sunderland 11 against the 10, couldn't score. So Newcastle showing fantastic firepower, and they're one away from the 6 that they put past Villa. When they get it right here, boy, do they get it right.
Well, Arsenal away next, so it's an easy one to follow.
Been beaten here by Blackpool, beaten here by Stoke, beaten here recently in the Carling Cup by Arsenal. Only just got a draw against Wigan. But either side of those shortfalls, 6 past Villa and 5, sweeter still, past Sunderland.
It makes a huge difference when you manage to win in front of your own fans. And certainly well with Chris Hughton, I think at least it should, in terms of his job security. Forget all about that and move on.
There's the North East demolition derby. But Carroll coming in, came across the defender. It's all the best strikers do.
He's done enough to earn the goal. Andy Carroll. 10 minutes or so to get one.
Sorte's tackle. Certainly caught a Neuer. Picked himself up and got on with the game. Physical pain to go with mental torture. It's run for Carroll. Tussle between Richardson and Amiobi, and then a challenge by Mensah. Just outside the area.
From back to worse, isn't it? Fouled in a very similar position for Bramble to be sent off. Andy Carroll.
A distraction which has got Mike Ashley and the chief executive Derek Lambias with their eyes away from a free kick, even though it's a free kick to Newcastle.
A couple of goes on free kicks, Joe Barton. Not quite managed to test Mignolet as yet.
Barton again. Deflection away by Richardson, which was important. We're into the last 10 minutes, and that final whistle can't come soon enough for Sunderland.
Should be a match underneath the crossbar. Nolan and Mensah, is it?
Well, Phil Dowd is trying to manage this situation, but in the end, if the players don't respond to a serious ticking off, it's going to go for the card.
Well, whether it was for dissent or something he did, I'm not quite sure, but there's a clutch of players underneath the crossbar. It's a position Kevin Nolan has taken up right through the match from corners. Mensah was there or thereabouts, making contact with the Newcastle captain. He might as well shut up now, Mensah. Oh, he's going to have an early bath as well.
Well, he's a sentence away from sending his team down to 9 men. It's a humiliation for Steve Bruce and Sunderland here.
Just leaning into
He's refusing to give up on a possible advantage here.
Oh dear, what's he going to do here? Yeah, I think that's your last chance.
That's the final last warning. We just had the last warning a few seconds earlier. Obi, Carroll, step back into the middle. Remember Bolton against Liverpool to come. They're done and dusted up in the northeast, and Monday night football for you. There have been some lively matches already this season. Bloomfield Road, Blackpool. Blackpool also promoted West Brom. Not bad, the three sides that have come up, eh? Blackpool have had their moments. West Brom riding high, and Newcastle United.
Oh, it's good to see, isn't it? It really is. You don't want things to be too top heavy, whereby it's difficult to come into the top league and survive.
And it's Gutierrez. Obi gets it back across. Mensah deals with it, drops for Barton. Could have gone anywhere. Didn't quite go where Andy Carroll wanted. Gutierrez. Jose Enrique. The Spanish shuffle. Remember, Newcastle were 3-0 up at half-time, then Bramble was sent off. Since when Amiobi and Nolan have added further goals, absolutely seal Sunderland's fate.
It's going to be interesting to see how these figures in the overall season, Newcastle's, whether it's a watermark, kick on to bigger and better things. I mean, they've not been doing too badly as it was, but it's going to mark an improvement in the home form, which has been the one problem for them.
This is Niall Ranger. And Shola Amiobi. Not wanting to go because the hat-trick was still on, but he gets his own ovation here. He's been with them through thick and thin, but it hasn't got much thicker than this.
No, I mean, that'll mean a lot, I think, for the whole of St James's Park to be stood up acclaiming him in his efforts today.
Now Rangers only 19. Newcastle is another one that they've given another chance to. Had some off-the-field difficulties. Free kick to Sunderland.
Well, it's one to forget, isn't it? Not easy when it's a time-wear derby. Certainly one to just try and forget all about and move on, because it's very consistent in terms of clean sheets and being hard to beat. So far this season, Sunderland, it's been anything but that way this afternoon.
There's absolutely no crumb of comfort for Sunderland today at all. They lost the tactical battle when Christian opted to play with two strikers. Supposedly stretches midfield a bit. The personnel to take advantage of that, they couldn't. Carroll, here's Ranger. It's a great touch by Mignolet. Outfield players can say now about the young goalkeepers, they've grown up with the back pass law. It's the older ones that still have trouble with it. Here's Karen Bent, still trying to get that crumb of comfort, and maybe Gian as well. Krul has to make a save. It was pretty much straight at him. It was hit pretty powerfully.
And the highlight of Sunderland's second half, that. The flag didn't go up for a change. Thought he might have been offside there, Darren Bent. He's had enough of them this second half. But that's as close as they've come to getting a reply. Not enough attempts, but pretty on target. Not near enough.
Two minutes plus added time. A game that the Newcastle fans do not want to see come to an end. Bent. They've all had their hopes, the Geordies, coming here to St James's Park today, but few could have envisaged this. Sunderland, 7 matches unbeaten, remember. So solid defensively. Absolutely put to the sword. Nolan has a Halloween hat-trick amidst a horror show for the Maccabees. Ranger. Seems to be the filling in the sandwich then. Bent. And it's a 90th minute corner for a swamped Sunderland, shamefaced.
Still
He
doing
can
his
hold
job.
his head high and will do it defensively.
Well, I mentioned the clean sheet earlier. Chris Hughton certainly on the sidelines will be hoping for that, as will those defenders.
Taken by Henderson. And a goal right at the end for Darren Bent. And Sunderland do score as we go into stoppage time. Not worth a blink of celebration for Steve Bruce. And most of the Sunderland fans have gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Darren Bent classic, really. Johnny on the spot. After a torrid second half for him. Had very little to go at. But give him credit, he's still alive. He's still there to get his boot at it.
It didn't go to 4 Premier League games without a goal for him. It was very, very close to that. Well, he might have another one here. Krul stops that happening. On the ground where Bent scored his very first senior goal in the Carling Cup for Ipswich. What's happened to him since then?
It's a great record when you think about it. Not gone 4 games without a goal. Darren Bent during his time at Sunderland. Some really good consistency from him.
It's third Newcastle wanting to have the last word on the scoreline. We've had full say pretty much throughout the afternoon here. It's been a real feast at Sunday lunchtime.
Got to make sure they build on it, haven't they, Newcastle? So many positives to draw from it after an uncertain week when you think about all those rumours about Chris Hughton. They'll be desperate to kick on now. Pick up some more results pretty quickly. I mentioned though at the Emirates this weekend, which obviously won't be easy. They can't go there in any better heart.
Richardson. Now Brock. And it goes again. Colaccini and Williamson and company and Krul will be annoyed that their clean sheet's been taken from them. Mensah heads away. Henderson. Cut out by Williamson. Ireland will spend the evening, I'm sure, telling Andy Carroll about the hat-trick. Carroll has certainly played his part and been the focal point of this 5-1 win. Newcastle have the points, they have the pride, they go above Sunderland in the Premier League. And 5 goals, the hat-trick from Kevin Nolan, 2 from Shola Amiobi, including a penalty. And for Steve Bruce, who growing up as a Geordie would have loved this outcome, as the visiting manager today, it's an awful result. Though Sunderland's first defeat in 8 in the league, but the one they were desperate to avoid. And it gives Newcastle their 50th victory in Tyne-Wear League derbies. What a victory! Newcastle United 5, Sunderland 1.
It's unbelievable. I made my debut here against these 20 months ago, and to score a hat-trick in the second game here, you know, something will live with me forever. And just absolutely delighted, and delighted for the fans, delighted for Chris. He deserves it after what he's been put through this week. And just delighted for the lads, because I thought we were fantastic today.
At 2-0, was there any chance, Shola, of you letting Kevin take the penalty?
No, I'm obviously the designated penalty taker in the team, and you know, at the end of the day, we had to give a professional job out there. You know, we knew that at 2-0 they were still in the game, so you know, that's my job, and thankfully I put it away today.
How often do you practice penalties?
Practiced them yesterday and none went in, so I was you know, very delighted that obviously the practice makes perfect, and they paid off today.
And how close were you to getting a hat-trick?
I probably should have had it. You know, the ball was perfect by Joe, and you know, I've just, you know, rose, and you know, I haven't quite caught it, and obviously the skipper there is in the right place at the right time, as he usually is, and you know, he's worked so hard, and as we all have, you know, and he's totally deserved that today.
When you see the stadium that we have and the support that we have, and to see the reaction from them, it's what the game's all about. We knew how big a game it was. It is 3 points. It is against our local rivals, and we haven't had this opportunity for a couple of years, and you can see what it means to them.
What clicked today for your team?
Well, I think we certainly pressed very well. We made a decision early in the game that we was going to look to play in their half, but around that you need good performances, and you need that bit of quality in front of goal, and that's what we did have. I think testament to us, we were disappointed that we conceded the one at the end, but it was a wonderful team performance with some outstanding individual performances.